If you are receiving this, that's awesome.
Mountains aren't just funny.
No, they're not.
They are hill areas.
You know, I used to have a job as the human cannonball at a circus.
What happened, mate?
I was fired.
Well, what do you call a well-balanced horse?
I'm not so sure.
Stable.
Welcome to the Intergalactic Boombox, a podcasting spaceship traveling the vast cosmos of your mind. I'm Kyle Hebert, a voice actor from anime and video games, and if you aren't watching The Last of Us or The Mandalorian, I don't even know you. But then again, I'm still on season 2 of Picard, so I guess we're even. If you listen to this show on a Podcasting 2.0 app from newpodcastapps.com, you could show some love with support from within the app as you listen. If you receive any value from the content you're hearing, you can place a monetary value on it and pay it forward.
Literally.
Dave Jones from the Podcasting 2.0 podcast sends a weekly sustaining Satoshi donation. Satoshis are the smallest unit of Bitcoin, fractions of a penny. But it all adds up, man. Dave continues to be an honorary Sat Cat.
The question of the week.
As reported on the last episode of the podcast, legendary manga artist Leiji Matsumoto passed away, a creator of iconic anime and manga. What's your favorite Matsumoto project? Top WK1 boosted 950 sats, which makes him an honorary Sat Cat. He says, my favorite was Captain Harlock. It was the first full-length anime movie I ever saw. I, too, had been watching Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets and Robotech after school when the local college Japanese club had an event where one of the members was going to play some of his collection. I fell in love with Captain Harlock, even though it was being translated on the fly by the students. Ant, a Beartiful Mind, says, these are hard choices, but leaning into One More Time, the music video for Daft Punk, and all of Interstellar 5555. It's not only visually impressive, but it always blew me away how a character-driven narrative could be told with absolutely no dialogue. One of my favorite pieces of media, hands down. Zitharos says, Harlock. I loved it because it was basically pirates in space, but with this constant existential dread behind everything. I also enjoyed it because Harlock didn't win all the time. He was allowed to lose and stay losing, and sometimes he lost a lot. Good buddy of mine and fellow voice actor Douglas Russell says, Yamato. It was the first serious anime I'd ever seen, and it absolutely floored me. A cartoon space action drama soap opera centered around a converted WW2 battleship? Sign me up for life. Caveat, I was and am a huge Speed Racer fan, but I consider it kids anime. I used to watch that too. I propose a drinking game. Every time on Speed Racer when a character goes, oh, take a swig. And lastly, the Anime Academic says, if it's not Interstellar 5555, it's got to be Captain Harlock. Such an iconic design. Dark story. And it just had an overall charm to it that made it a timeless classic. He was a foundation in storytelling, and his impact still echoes today. Rest in peace, Leiji Matsumoto.
New question.
Who is your favorite comedian? This list can be quite exhaustingly long, and it doesn't have to be like one. You could actually have a list because I can't even narrow it down to one. But off the top of my head, I'd say like Robin Williams, Sam Kinison, George Carlin, Bill Burr, Gallagher. And they can float over from films too, like Gene Wilder, Ryan Reynolds, Seth Rogen, Will Ferrell. We can even include groups like Kids in the Hall or Monty Python. Comedy is subjective, but who makes you laugh and gives you a big fat shot of dopamine to escape our hellish reality? Boost your reply on a Podcasting 2.0 app from newpodcastapps.com with a Boostagram.
Boost.
It's a custom amount of support for this show and a way to send that message. Or at BoomboxPod on Twitter. The band Kiss has not only been rocking audiences around the world since the early 70s, they've been a merchandising juggernaut thanks to co-founder and bass player Gene Simmons, who's not above marketing any and every possible thing with a Kiss logo on it. Now he's reaching out to all future musicians or Kiss fans for the ultimate collaboration. He will record a Kiss song with you, and it'll only cost you $6,000. Gene's Twitter states, quote, July 10th, Abbey Road Studios, London, England. Record with me at the home of the Beatles. This amazing event is only open to a select number of you. Be there, unquote. Well, yeah, it's a select number. Who has $6,000? Whoa, who are you?
Isn't it obvious? I'm Bing Slimmons from Smooch.
What?
The greatest rock band in the world.
Bing Slimmons? You look a lot like Gene Simmons from Kiss.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
But since you brought it up,
Yes,
I'll clear up any confusion.
please do.
Kiss were a bunch of con artists.
How
They
so?
ripped off our act, have been making a mockery of our true genius for 50 years.
Can you give an example?
You know Detroit Rock City?
Oh, yeah, it's one of Kiss's best songs.
Pure crap.
Oh.
It's loosely based on Smooch's original wannabe chart topper, Flint Dirty Water City.
You do know Flint, Michigan didn't have undrinkable water till 2014.
Moving on.
Okay.
What about God of Thunder?
That's another classic. Gene Simmons actually sings that one.
Oh, yeah!
Kool-Aid guy?
Well, Gene Simmons stole that from me, too.
Oh,
God of Thunder, nothing compared to our banger, Lord of Crackle.
Crackle?
No, Crackle. A lot of phlegm.
I see.
Rock and roll all night.
Yeah?
They sampled our melody and changed the words slightly. It actually says, I want to rock and roll all night and part of every day.
Why only part?
We have day jobs.
Ah.
That's neither here nor there. I'm here to promote Smooch's final tour.
Smooch? So your band have been touring all this time?
Driving cross country, year in, year out.
You gotten a lot of gigs?
Sold out.
Really?
At least inside the venue. Once whatever band is playing inside is done, the crowd filters out and we set the parking lot on fire.
Okay.
Literally.
Literally.
They call the fire department every time.
You know, Bing, I just noticed your boots don't look like Gene Simmons' dragon boots.
That's because dragons are so Game of Thrones.
Yeah?
Yesterday's news.
So what are those supposed to be then?
They're ferrets.
Ferrets. And that's supposed to be intimidating and cool?
They're demon ferrets.
Ah, okay.
Tickets are on sale now for the End of the Road Leads Straight into the Ocean tour.
Amazing. You like Godzilla? Who doesn't like Godzilla? Well, HBO Max can hook you up. Yeah, they've been slashing series and projects left and right and probably losing subscribers by the millions, but this could probably draw a lot of fans back. A slew of the beloved Giant Lizard's back catalog is now available to stream on HBO Max, including the current monster universe, Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Kong, but a lot of OG Godzilla. The 1955 original, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla Raids Again, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Son of Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, and a personal fave of mine, Godzilla vs. Megalon, featuring Jet Jaguar. Collectibles giant Funko has been raking in millions of dollars with their line of pop vinyl figurines. From movies, TV, cartoons, anime, sports, music, all subgenres of pop culture. Beginning in 1988, hitting terminal velocity in 2011, I thought it was just a fad and it would fade as quick as Beanie Babies or fidget spinners. But many a geek have poured many a paycheck into investing in these things.
Hi-ty-ty-ty-ty.
Oh joy, it's Death Metal Dan O'Houlihan, the magical leprechaun.
What be with all the creepy-eyed buggers in people's collections, eh?
I think it's like Pokemon, you know? You gotta catch them all.
What the holy haberdashery and hemoglobin has gotten into these collectors' minds with this expensive hobby?
People can run the gamut between a few on a shelf up to entire rooms dedicated to displaying them. Some mint in the box, some autographs, some loose, or displaying them in clear lighted cases.
The ex-girlfriend wanted to shackle me to the treadwheel, don't you know?
For what? Collecting Funko Pops?
No. Pink hearts, yellow moons, orange stars, green
Yeah.
clovers, and blue diamonds.
Yeah.
You see, me ex is an unlucky charm. She's tragically malicious.
Yeah, so a vast majority of Funko Pops aren't really worth much, as evidenced by the constant clearance sales going on everywhere, while some exclusive variants from multimedia or sports can fetch up to hundreds on the aftermarket. Now, full disclosure, I've got Funko Pops of the characters I voice, and I got their variants, and I got a handful of some Star Wars ones like Boba Fett and Mando, the band Ghost, all the Papa figurines, I got those, some initial Guardians of the Galaxy. Death Metal Dan, you ever collect any Pops?
I do admit, I have a fondness for Baby Yoda.
Oh, yeah?
I plunked in plenty of coin for 57 Grogu Pops.
Well, there may be trouble in Pop Paradise as the company's inventory went so high, they actually plan to eliminate over $30 million worth of the figurines to reduce fulfillment costs. Turns out trashing them is actually cheaper than hemorrhaging money for shipping containers filled to the brim with overstock.
These suckers be more saturated than the state of California.
Yeah.
At the end of February.
From my top-secret bunker in Pahrump, Nevada, where I'm monitoring society's ever-growing level of truth decay, Conspiracy here, with all the news you can't use. Page 1. If you weren't convinced we're all on the brink of collapse, this just might change your mind. A remote kissing device with silicone lips. Now, before you get all pervy, there's no tongue, but the idea is that sensors within the gadget react when you make out with it. A corresponding app sends the impulses across the interwebs to your lover's phone, where the silicone lips on their end smooch accordingly.
Someone say smooch.
Great Gooka Mooka, what are you?
I'm Bing Slimmons, co-founding member and bassist for the legendary rock band Smooch.
You look more like Danhausen and Gwar had a baby.
This smooching device sounds like the next biggest thing since Funko Pops.
What, you gonna slap your band's logo on there and watch the money roll in?
So you're a fan?
All right, that's enough of you, Alice Pooper. You're gonna miss your flight to Guantanamo. Now get. Page 2. If you think the U.S. president is off his rocker, Mexican President Andres Obrador is saying, "Hold my beer." Or should I make that cerveza? Careful, Ken, you're gonna get canceled.
I'll cancel you.
All right, but nobody's listening, dude.
Pipe down, the grown-ups are talking.
President Obrador's Twitter account recently featured a photo of a supposed Mayan woodland spirit called an alux. According to folklore, this mischievous elf plays pranks on the locals.
Hoity-toity-toy. Now this sounds like me kind of mystical shenanigans.
I've had just about enough of you. I sprayed for leprechauns last week. Yeah, take that. Page 3. A family in a remote province of China adopted what they thought was a Tibetan Mastiff puppy. Problem was, it had a voracious appetite, eating them out of house and home, and maxing out at 250 pounds. Plus, it kind of stopped looking anything like a dog. Turns out, he was a bear.
Ken!
What?
You said my last name right! Finally!
Herbert, stop eating paste.
No, seriously, you got it right!
This family's pet is an Asiatic black bear, who now resides in a wildlife rescue, which sounds like the perfect place for you to move. And I'm spent. That's all the news you can't use. Conspiracy here from my dump in Pahrump.
Aw, look at the time.
The Intergalactic Boombox is brought to you by a grant from the Association of Broken Banjo Enthusiasts. Guest of the podcast stay with a shrink in Beverly Hills. You know the one. Dr. Everything Gonna Be All Right.
Remember the wise words of the legendary Jack Burton. You people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president. Till next time, Doodles.